Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. We are the Mile High Property Brothers. Today, going back to Castle Rock, discussing pro and cons, but pro and cons 2023 into 2024. So it's updated. We haven't been there in a while. We've lived there. Yep. We work there. We have an office there, but we haven't necessarily covered it on a video, but it's updated for what to look forward to or not to look forward to when it comes to fourth quarter of this year and 2024. Stay tuned.
Let's check it out. And if it's your first time to the channel, we post 2 videos a week without fail every Wednesday and Sunday, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single one.
100%. And we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado, which means just as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you with those real estate needs. So numbers popping up below. We are the guys trying to the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. If we can help you, we would love to. But with that being said, pros, cons, Castle Rock, let's have the conversation.
That's right, guys. Now, as Will alluded to earlier when he said we work down there, not only do we help a ton of you guys, our buyers, move to Castle Rock, but our office, our primary office is located in Castle Rock as well. So we know Castle Rock like the back of our hand. And this review, the pros and cons, are the honest truth, things that not only are our opinion, but things that we've heard from our clients that have moved there as well.
Whether our office, whether it's all the clients that we've helped move down there, or just myself personally, before we got pregnant and had our next little kiddo, that brought us back to Southeast Aurora to be closer to family. We were in Castle Rock, just on top of Diamond Ridge, in a great spot. So we've got some great context as far as like just shopability, drivability, views, neighbors, you name it, we're gonna talk about it.
All of the things. And before we get into the list, we want to give a quick shout out to a couple of clients we got under contract just this weekend. Ryan and Jessica, they're coming up here from Texas. We got them under contract on home in Castle Rock. It's got amazing views out of the back. It's got even better views out of the front. They could not be more excited.
Eli was able to hog all the showings.
That's right.
I was doing all the dirty work, making sure things happen. But I'm pretty sure we got them under contract this morning. This morning, correct? So literally in real time. Shout out to you guys. Congrats. So pro is you guys have an enormous amount of shopping there, whether it's the outlet malls that are awesome with everything that you guys can imagine, but they've also built a secondary complex there with the 24-hour fitness and Whole Foods and the organic King Supers and the car washes. There's a ton, and then you've also got Old Town Castle Rock, which is where our office is at, which is just one exit down or two exits down south, I-25 south, off to the east side of the highway, and that's gonna hold your older buildings. You got some breweries, some great restaurants down there, and we've always talked about this in some of our other videos because it's nice when you can just have this older tucked away spot for restaurants and some small shopping and just enjoying it if you're a local versus when the outlets get busy, which is probably going to be one of our cons today. I'll give you a little bit of a heads up, but really great when it comes to just overall type of shopping you guys can have.
Oh, there's so much to do there. And to talk about the Old Town portion, so that's the historic downtown portion of Castle Rock. So if you ever hear anyone mention downtown Castle Rock, that's where they're talking about. And we mean old in terms of like late 1800s, early 1900s, and they have like really old Capitol building down there. Some of the little diners that they have down there as well are original from that date. But then what I love about that is over the past 10 years, Castle Rock has put a ton of money into redeveloping that downtown area to where you have brand new high-end luxury condos, luxury apartment buildings, very cool, trendy taco places and bars and things that make for great date night spots.
Which brings us to our number 2 pro, which is going to be just the overall community of Castle Rock. So Old Town or downtown Castle Rock, whatever you guys choose to call it, the amount of car shows and parades and lighting of the tree, concerts in the park and 4th of July celebrations. There's not a thing that's not going on in that Old Town Castle Rock, and not many people travel if they're not local to Castle Rock. Those are some that are just a little bit more specific to all the locals from what we could tell while we were living there, but really cool because it's great for kiddos. It's great for community and just meeting some new friends, and again, it's almost like it's more reserved for locals compared to everybody coming in the influx. But as much as it's down south per se, the sense of community that you guys have with meeting everybody and enjoying your neighbors, super pro.
And I would almost venture to say that of all the major Denver metro cities, Castle Rock I would put in first place for community events, just all the things that Will just mentioned that the whole town comes together to participate in. I honestly, like, they have those in the other major cities, but I just think Castle Rock has
you don't have them like that.
Yeah, not like that.
Downtown downtown Castle Rock is just really exclusive, really fun. You do have something similar when it comes to like Main Street and Parker.
Yeah,
but it's more diluted. Main Street and Parker is not as big as downtown Castle Rock. And because it is a little bit more close to everything else, everybody's just kind of like in and out of like Main Street, Castle Rock.
Now, let's talk about the size of Castle Rock, okay? Because when we're talking about sense of community, we want to give some perspective as far as like, how many people are down there? To give you a little bit of perspective, Aurora is at 350,000, okay? Denver is about 500,000. Castle Rock, 76,000 people.
And it's also spread out. And we're going to talk about that here in a little while and kind of get to that. But your next pro that we're going to discuss, and we're fathers, we have families. This is always something that's important to us. So if it gets redundant, we apologize. But it's great for your resale. It's great for just overall value in that area forevermore, as long as it's still great. And what am I talking about? School districts. You have Douglas County School District there. Douglas County tends to consistently be in the top 5 for Colorado. Now, Colorado as a whole is a great state to be in when it comes to education compared to the majority. So if you're in the upper echelon of the upper echelon, then you're pretty good. But Douglas County, great school district, consistently top 5.
All right, now one of my favorite things about living in Castle Rock and our clients that are moving there as well are the views and just how much nature and the Colorado feel that Castle Rock has. Now, if you guys come to Parker or Thornton or Littleton, like, yes, you're going to be able to see the mountains and stuff, and you've got trees around and everything like that. But Castle Rock, being on the south side, so much more of nature comes to you. And you've got big bluffs and big foothills and places to go real hiking and real mountain biking all within your actual city.
100%. You feel like you're more in the mountains versus having a view of the mountains, if that makes any sense. But great stuff. And then another pro on top of that, because of it, is just all of the outdoor recreations that you can do when it comes to Castle Rock. So whether it's Philip S. Miller Park that we've talked about a ton, and the mini incline, all the bike trails, you do have some competitive high schools and just little leagues out there because of Douglas County School District, right? So competitive schools when it comes to sports, but that also brews a lot of like little league sports. So you've even got little league sports complexes out there. So whether it's baseball, soccer, football, the Philip S. Miller Park I just mentioned, and just getting out and rock climbing. Now, Philip S. Miller Park also has an indoor pool and everything else on the facility in the rock wall. We always talk about what's outside when it comes to that park, but they've also got pools and things inside. But whatever you guys need when it comes to having some fun and feeling like you're in the mountains with those trails and everything, or mountain biking or jogging or hiking. Everybody else either has to go to Castle Rock for that, go to the mountains for that, but if you guys are living in Castle Rock, you can kind of just walk out your back door and have at it.
So let's move into some of the cons here. Let's start off talking about the physical location of Castle Rock, which might be a con to some of you, but to me, it's a big plus, okay?
Eli doesn't like people. Eli wants to live. Hey, hold on. Let's be accurate. Let's show where Eli lives. That's Eli's house. So he's a little jaded, whatever it may be. But even though Castle Rock is 34 to 37 minutes away from the heart of downtown, sometimes it's a bit longer, 37 to 41 minutes if you guys have a little bit of rush hour. It's not bad. I drove it when we had our office downtown at the Pullman. So from the heart of downtown all the way to Castle Rock, where I would commute every day, it was consistently right around that 37 to 41 minutes, and I was driving during rush hour during the heart. Now, it's not that far, especially compared to a lot of different places. Like California, I couldn't go anywhere in 41 minutes when I lived out there. And that was over a decade ago, so I can only imagine what it's like now. But it's still 37 or 41 minutes, right? It's still a drive, and if you're doing it every single day, it's not necessarily the most popular drive that you might want to make. And because you're so far down south, per se, right, subjectively, if you don't have what you're looking for in Castle Rock, you're gonna have to venture up into Castle Pines or Lone Tree to get what you're looking for, whether it's from Park Meadows Mall or something else. So it would be a drive if you wanted to go to like Parker and grab something. It's off the backside of Crowfoot Valley, so there's a little bit more of a drive if you can't find what you're looking for. And Castle Rock pretty much has everything you're looking for. But if it doesn't, plan on at least making a 20-minute drive.
Yeah, now a couple other points to that. When Will mentions I don't like people, yes, I do like being more secluded. But I also love that, hey, with Castle Rock being on the south side of Denver, it's not surrounded by these other major metro cities. So you don't have a lot of influx into Castle Rock unless it's tourists on the weekend that are coming to the outlets, or, just other locals to Colorado that are coming to Castle Rock. But I'd love that if anyone's driving through Castle Rock, they're just going to Colorado Springs or something, right?
Correct.
So it keeps keeps the in-city traffic limited, which I really enjoy. But then also, let's say you guys are going to downtown on a regular basis, you have a really good opportunity to utilize our light rail system. So the furthest south that the light rail goes from Denver is the Ridgegate stop, and that's probably 8 to 12 minutes from like the very southern point of Castle Rock.
Right.
And you can park your car there 10 minutes away from your house and then take the light rail system all the way up to downtown.
Now the con to that is we're just not sure if the light rail's ever going to go all the way down to Castle Rock.
Yeah,
right? And there's a lot of the residents in Castle Rock that are actually petitioning against it because they're outside of Denver for a reason. And as you guys know, whether it's buses or a light rail system, public transportation just brings a whole different set of population and some challenges when you have a lot of people that can then publicly get down there. And there's just some conflict with that, some friction with that the locals don't want to have in Parker, Castle Rocks have been petitioning against it. So we're not sure if it's ever going to be coming. But what you will have that could be a con is inclement weather, right? When you have people that are commuting down to the Springs, or if you guys are looking at going up into Denver. By Denver, I mean whether it's Lone Tree, whether it's the Park Meadows area, Denver Tech Center, anything. Because you are down south, there is a little bit of an elevation drop as you go down into Castle Rock. And if we have a big snowstorm, sometimes, typically maybe once a year, sometimes twice, they will shut down I-25 just because of the weather and the amount of car accidents. So can get a little dangerous on the highway during inclement weather, or could get shut down, and then you guys are just kind of stuck in Castle Rock, or you're stuck from getting down into Castle Rock if for some reason you were in Denver when that happened. So definitely not an everyday thing. And if you're paying attention to the roadways and the storms, even if a storm comes in out of nowhere, typically it takes still a good 4, 5, 6 hours for something to get bad enough before they close the highway. So if you're working in Denver, or if you're working in Denver Tech Center and that storm's starting to blow in, you might want to get off work early just so you can head back down. But things that you just have to be vigilant with and aware of before you guys live down there.
Now, we touch base on winter, let's touch base on summer, because what you're gonna need to know in the summertime if you're living in Castle Rock is that they do have watering restrictions. So Castle Rock is unique in the sense that they are protective over their water. It is a little more expensive than some of the other major metro cities, and they do limit certain days of the week that you can water your grass.
Correct.
Now, there are plenty of nice, beautiful lawns in Castle Rock, so it is sufficient. Personally, I think it's a good thing that we're just not letting people overwater their lawn every single day.
Another thing when it comes to like summertime and you guys pretty much being inside the mountains, or at least the cliffs of Castle Rock, is you do just get a little bit more wildlife.
Yes.
Whether it be mountain lions or deer that might walk through the backyard. Some of you that followed me when I lived there, we would show some of that stuff, but also just more snakes to be aware of, right? So we don't have a ton of insects and snakes and things like that here in Colorado. It tends to be a little bit more dry, but when you get into the cliffs and everything, it's summer and it's really dry. We had a handful of bull snakes that would come through the backyards. Now those are, from my understanding, they're not poisonous or anything like that, but they are a little bit aggressive. So if you have dogs in the backyard and dogs want to get curious about what that is, they're not really looking to like not fight your dog or not fight your kiddo, right? Like if something's coming toward a bull snake, they tend to engage in that, probably why they're called bull snakes. So these are just things that you want to be aware of. They do stand out. For the most part. But we had some, the ones that were coming through our backyard up in Diamond Ridge were anywhere from 3 to 5 feet. They're pretty good size. They tend to move a little bit slower and kind of hang out, but if you're picking on them, they're gonna mess with you. But
and that will be more prominent, like he back to open space. It will be more 100%. Prominent when you back to open space like that.
You don't see much of that in actual like neighborhoods. We were literally on the back of an acre. There were some undeveloped areas and it was right on the cliffs, right on the rock. So it's not like you got these things crawling around like gators in Florida or something like that. But it's just something to be aware of. Anytime you're embedded more into wildlife or more into the landscape like that, you're always gonna have a little bit more of said things.
Now, depending on where you live in Castle Rock, if you live near downtown or you live in the Meadows or anywhere close to I-25 going north and south, there is a train track, an active train track that does run through downtown. It crosses over the highway and then runs north and south parallel to I-25. So the Meadows is one of the biggest and oldest and still currently development that's out there. And we sell a ton of homes out there. We love the Meadows. They've got the Grange out there, which is a beautiful pool and community center, but you are close to the train tracks. Now, they do not blow their horn at night. There's city ordinances like that, so it's not gonna disturb your sleep. Anyone that we have helped move to the Meadows, which has been a lot, they actually say that they like the train sound, that it's not intrusive. If all their windows are shut, they can barely hear it. So it hasn't been an issue, but at the same same time, we don't want it to be a surprise for anyone moving out there.
We could hear it on top of Diamond Ridge. So we're gonna show you a topographical map right now of like where the train runs through, and then we'll show Diamond Ridge, so proximity where we were at to the train tracks. But you know, it's not uber late at night, but I do remember like maybe 8 o'clock at night, you would hear it come by. There is a peaceful annoyance to it, if that makes any sense. Like it's not necessarily annoyance, but it's not putting you to sleep, but it's kind of like it sounds like you just live in a cottage or a village, or you know, because you got the train coming in and out of town. It's kind of cool to hear it, gives a little bit more substance to it. It was never a disturbance where it woke our kids up or anything like that, but you can definitely hear it from a decent amount of way. But what I do like is it's not like you're living in Commerce City in downtown where you've got 14 trains an hour that are going in and out. It's just not that busy. You've got a couple that are here and there, but you know, I think I hear it maybe sometimes in the morning, and then I hear it in the evening. But that's it. So it's not like something that's just continual that you guys are gonna hear all the time compared to some other areas.
Our final pro, or at least my final pro that we've got here, and honestly, this can be a con or it can be a pro for some of you. For me, it's a pro. But that is that Castle Rock is still growing. Castle Rock is still very, very, very much growing. As I mentioned before, you're not surrounded by other developed cities, which means Castle Rock has room to grow. Denver can't grow anymore. It's surrounded by everything, so there's no room to grow out. Castle Rock is, which means if you're moving there, you can probably expect it to continue to change over the next 5, 10, 15 plus years.
Just to give you guys some context, we're gonna show some drone footage right now of like the outlets and of some of like the old town. I'm sure we've got some of that. And what I want you guys to see as we show you that is your outlets and then like your downtown Castle Rock. Imagine it kind of like down at level, low level, like in a valley. And then most of your homes are like up on the cliffs or behind the cliffs. So either side of the cliff, on top of the cliff, or behind the cliff on some of these other cliffs. So what I'm getting at with this is, as it grows, proximity to convenient shopping, you're just gonna be a little bit further and further away from it. They do have strip malls and things like that are on the backside of some of these valleys. They're just not as dynamic as things that you're gonna need when it comes to the central location of Castle Rock with the outlets, with the grocery stores and everything like that. So whether it's going out to eat, whether it's going down the hill to go to Walgreens or do some shopping, it's not annoying, but it is a little bit more of a drive to come down from the cliffs to the shopping centers and then work your way back up the cliffs versus when you're on like flat land per se. Like it's just a quick drive right down the street. It's not inconvenient, but it's not as convenient as a lot of other places that we've shown. But the pro to that is because you guys are inside all the landscape that most people want to be around when it comes to Colorado in the first place, right? So not even sure if it's like a big deal. We have DoorDash now. It's not anything that you can't order to your house. So I'm not even sure if anybody's going out for that reason. But if you guys are going out, if you guys are curious about Castle Rock, we are going to throw this number back up on the bottom of the screen and just remind you guys that yes, we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado. And yes, just as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you with those real estate needs. So the number that's still up below. We are the guys who answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. So we can help you with Castle Rock or with anything else. We would love to. But with that being said, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you very soon.
Appreciate you guys.